midpoint, the all-important mid. Seems like, I don't know what we're going to call these guys. NV is where they're all tagged up as, and it's a lot shorter than the actual name.
Yeah, I think they're called Veni, Vidi, non-Vici.
Yeah. Non-Vici, okay, there we go. So they made a pretty hearty attempt to try and get to midpoint, but it was stopped pretty heroically by the guys over at PlayStuff. And they have made their impact on this map very early, taking that midpoint, all-important midpoint. Actually pushing all the way forward, trying to get the fourth point. Only really attempted to be blocked by the pyro for Vici. And yeah, this is a really impressive start. I mean, you got to be really proud of these guys. Have they done well throughout the season so far?
Oh, they've done really well, mate. Yeah, I should just say, this is Aggro joining me tonight. I'm Colt, commentating on the PlayStuff Highlander match in the ETF2 League. That's the last one of the season. Both teams have not lost a game so far, so this decides the winner of the league. And I am embarrassingly going to say that my TF2 is still updating, so I'm not watching the match at the minute, but I'll be in there as soon as possible. Thankfully, I've got Aggro with me, who's much more professional than me at these things. And,
I would say more professional, but I have the luck of having a machine that's updated, so I'm right in there with the action. I'm still there now. I don't know if you guys have an opportunity to see this, but if you haven't got it up on the screen at the moment, PlayStuff just kind of did a massive wipe. They pushed all the way through to the last point. Nothing was stopping them. They managed to keep themselves together nicely, which is always impressive. It makes a huge difference. A little bit of a peculiar rollout here, looking at the soldier at the moment. See, Cero. I'm not aware that some of the names on this team. Yes, Cero seems to be walking up behind them, running in the black box. So he hasn't even been touched by the medic once, as far as I've seen. So getting the impression that he's kind of roaming soldier, looking after himself, while the rest of the team sort of pushes in. But they are managing to bunch together quite nicely on each of the pushes, going through some of the little sort of tight spots that this map is famous for. And yeah, they're starting to get a little bit ahead of themselves. I'm kind of putting away from the action a bit now, sort of going with free roaming on the camera, so I can figure out what's going on. And Vici really don't seem to have managed to pose any kind of a threat at the moment.
No, and I'm watching on Source TV, so I am watching the match. Sorry, not Source TV, the stream. So I'm seeing it a little bit later than Aggro, but it's nice to see PlayStuff doing a few things that they really had to work on after the last match. One of them holding back when they knew they weren't going to take a point, so the rest of the team was there, so they had their strength to push forward. The other one using the Uber on the final point to take out players from the opposing side, as opposed to cap, leaving the rest of the team to cap and using the Uber to just basically put the defending team right back into their spawn, make the cap easy. And I see they did that on their first cap, but let's see if they can do it again here. They're going in with the Uber.
Well, that's it. I mean, Almighty Bob is quite a good man. We've actually played with him on the Quizcast, Team Quizcast a little bit, so it's good to see him make a mighty move in. But it's the classic caster's dilemma. Whenever they start talking about someone and sing their praises, they immediately get wiped out. And in fact, we're looking here at a complete wipe compared to what has happened in the previous two rounds. PlayStuff seem to have been stomped on just a little bit. The guys from Vici really showing how good they can be when they get their stuff together. Medics, both of these teams are kind of hanging out in the same sort of area there, just providing the optimum sort of boosts up. I know that the guys over at PlayStuff have their Uber ready. I think, yep, Vici have already popped it. Well done for holding on to that Uber for the very last minute there. Brilliant work by the medic. And now with this Uber fully in place, and of course Vici's Uber gone, we're seeing a bit of a reversal again. It's back over to PlayStuff to take that point. A little bit uncontested at this point.
Epic battle. The sniper's really playing a pivotal role at the moment. I noticed Sloth doing a great job in that role. He stepped in at the last minute last week after Priest was dropping his connection, so Sloth was our reserve. He jumped in, carried on doing the fine job. And again,
sorry to interrupt. I've just been watching the spy on Vici team run right up, very, almost obviously towards the heavy, and getting a nice little backstab in there. Unfortunately, got himself wiped out for the benefit. And I think both spies are really working on this. And
just looking now to see is Dancers with Play Stuff our spy tonight? Dancers with Backstabs, I should say.
Apocalypse is
Apocalypse.
Yes.
Okay, but just as good. Both of them excellent spies.
I would love to be able to say the name of the spy on any Vici's side. Unfortunately, it's in Japanese or Chinese, and no idea what's going on with that. Red Spy. We're going to call it from now on. Red Spy.
Red Spy works for me, and Red Sniper.
Yeah.
The Red Soldier seems to really be on top of his game.
Right. Yeah, they're pushing in towards this 4th point now. Uber ablaze, really a powerful and terrifying force when it moves in like that. Their engineer sticking up a miniature sentry gun to almost defend a forward position. Play Stuff, I think, would be very wise at this point to lay back, to hang back right on that very last point. And try and get a few picks in, try and disrupt Vici just enough to put them off kilter. But this is really them on the back foot now. And it's a bit of a test of a team's skill when they are on the last point.
Yeah, I think they're going to the game. They're probably surprised as we are maybe at how easy they've found the first two rounds. But they're seeing now that they can't be complacent at all this game. They've got a stiff opponent on their side against them.
Well, particularly on this map. I mean, it really it's a fantastic... I love this map. I love the fact that whether you're playing 1v1, 2v2, 6v6, or Highlander, or even just pub, it shows up significant weaknesses really very, very easily.
It really does.
That's it. They're actually on the last point now. The medic is holding on dearly for desperately trying to get his full 100% Uber. He does seem to have managed to survive a pretty heavy onslaught there, and with just the sniper left on Vici's team, doing a little bit of work there, but it was not enough to prevent Play Stuff from pushing forward onto 2nd point. I think that's pretty much a perfect defense. A lot of the skill here, really just coming down to medic managed to staying alive.
Yeah, supremely important, especially in Highlander where there's only one of each class. The medic can keep the heavy classes alive, and if the medic keeps the heavy classes alive, the team wins. So keeping the medic alive is the job of the pyro, and the spy on each side will be trying to take the medic out as soon as possible, without wishing to state the obvious.
Well, red team wants to beat blue team. Blue team wants to beat red.
They do. Sorry, I'm bound to say stupid things at the minute. I'm looking at Steam validating Team Fortress 2 files, and it's not moving, even though it's 100% complete.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. You might want to try restarting Steam and see whether that makes a difference for you. I think that the best thing we've seen, certainly in the last 5 minutes on the Play Stuff team here, is that medic managing to hold on to an Uber. They've had plenty of opportunities to blow it, to throw it out there, and they've just been holding on to it. There's been apparently no need. Although, having said that has resulted in Golden Rod being wiped out. Medic was not pushing with him. Went on, tried to do a little bit of his own tactician's work, and got wiped out for his troubles. Very important team moving together. I think they're now actually holding off. They've got a little bit of an advantage in terms of the number of points they've got already. So I think they're going to be holding off, and there they go. Now they've blown it. Both teams, in fact, pushing their Uber at the same time. A little bit, I was going to say, the Play Stuff being a little bit clever there. Having only one guy Uber, they would have had their Uber last a little bit longer. And now we're seeing caution by Blue Medic really going against him. He's having individual teams be wiped out, individual members be wiped out, and he's just lost his heavy again to the spy. This is looking very bad. from a very, very confident start. They just need to pull it back together and start playing as a team again. So
yeah,
it's
that's
amazing.
something that we've noticed. The guys from PlayStuff, they're all very experienced Team Fortress 2 players, but not very experienced competition players. And we don't have a competitive team, or we haven't until now. So this is really the first season they've had together. This their 5th match, I believe. Certainly they're getting over those kind of lapses in concentration, lapses in calling, and lapses in focus. But it's going to take them a little bit of time. Hopefully by the end of this series tonight, we'll see them getting things together, calling a lot, keeping their spirits up.
Of course, you don't really think about it being terribly important. It's after all just a game, but the measure of whether or not a game is able to, or whether or not a team is able to break through an alliance or break through another team does seem to be how they can work together. It's all very well having massively capable deathmatching skills, sort of one-on-one skills. But you are playing against 9 other players, and if you want to play 1 versus 1, you better hope that the rest of the team is behind you as well.
Absolutely. Here we go. Well, superb. I don't know if that's reached you yet, but I'm seeing on my screen that PlayStuff took that with a final push. Going 3-0 into the 3rd. 4th.
It's very difficult not to be biased at this point, having sort of played with a lot of the guys that play stuff. I know that they are, and in fact played on the same team as some of these guys. And you talked about Priest earlier as being having connection issues. We actually had him on the team for a long time. Never really got a chance to play with him through one reason or another.
He's a superb sniper. He's quite frightening as a sniper.
It's amazing when you get someone who plays in a role significantly well. I mean, it's most obvious with perhaps some of the classes that are otherwise regarded as off classes, like Spy. Speaking of Spy, we've got Red Team Spy moving in. I don't know if he's been spotted. There's a lot of spy check going on by Blue Pyro, and spy check does seem to be the one thing that the Pyros can do over and above everyone else is just burst a little bit of power out there. A little bit of flame, and if anyone catches fire, then clearly they're on the other team.
It's really good to see Snow playing so well as Pyro tonight. Wonderwee's been our first team Pyro for the most of the season, and has been famous for his air blasts. He's got a couple of caps for the team just by keeping the opposing side in the air. But Snow doing a great job tonight of taking up the reins. And yeah, like you say, he's been spy checking beautifully. I've seen the spy go up in smoke many times.
It's very difficult being a spy on a Highlander team, because you're guaranteed to have one of these spy checking classes, one of these pyro classes. So you kind of got to get out of the way of where the pyro is going to be, and also get in there deep in the action. And when you've got a team that knows what they're doing and does know how to play together, they'll do a little bit more of this kind of sticking together, pyro hanging out with the there we go, pyro hanging out with the medic, hanging out with the heavy, hanging out with the dome man, and becomes an incredibly difficult force to go up against.
Absolutely, and I'm just noticing, I must comment on Boy Lee's play tonight. He hasn't managed to be around for a couple of the games, so he's a little bit rusty, he claims, but he's doing a superb job as the engineer here, getting the sentry down really quickly wherever he is, making sure the team have support, helping them push forward. A really, really standout job.
And speaking of sort of engineers, one of the difficult choices, obviously, for these guys is, do you go with a mini sentry, which can build very quickly? It almost doesn't matter if you get it destroyed, but you can put it back up again without any real sort of significant loss. Or do you go with something that has a lot more firepower, like the level 3 sentry gun? Oh, sorry, just interrupt myself here. The PlayStuff have gone and blown their maneuver. Oh, fantastic play by NB, using the pyro to push these guys backwards, nullifying the effect of that Uber. Having said that, though, a bit of a sneaky push through there. They did not take no for an answer. Play Stuff managing to get a point, a couple of guys on that final point, just long enough to cap.
And this is interesting because this map, I believe, is first with a gap of 5. Is that correct? I think that's my understanding. It's the first team to have 5 points on the other team. So it's not first to 5, it's the first to have a clear 5-point lead.
I'm going to default onto your knowledge on that one. That does sound about right. It does kind of get to the point, though, if you find yourself sort of 5-0 down, wondering when will the torture end. So I think at that point, it's almost putting the other team out of their misery.
And they seem to be a man down. Why is that?
Don't know. I'm not sure if they want to call a pause here. One team can call a request a pause to the other team. They can actually stop the game mid-flow. People kind of hang in the air. It's quite surreal to watch.
It is.
For some players of some teams, they can actually handle a man being down without any significant loss. But I think in this case, it's a pretty drastic loss for them. They're not able to make any kind of a headway. And I think we're just going to see the end of that round.
They should have called a pause. I mean, we'd have been quite happy with it. Both teams allowed, I think, 2 pauses within the rules. In fact, last week, Play Stuff having someone drop from the server, calling a pause, and the other team refusing to accept it. The other team receiving a point deducted from their total in punishment for that action. But pause a perfectly valid thing to do, and you'd have thought that Veni, Vidi, non-Vici would have done that.
Yeah. Again, it helps if you've got someone on the team who understands what's going on. I think that the trouble with a lot of the teams with ETF2L, it's so new to them. The whole concept of what's required in terms of business play, in terms of competitive play versus pub play. That things that are obvious to perhaps you or I just kind of go by the wayside.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, maybe they just thought it was over. Let's get on to the next map and see if we can do a little bit better. They obviously appreciated that it was getting close to being over either way. But
well, it's sure. I mean, we're waiting sort of 90 seconds now between maps.
Okay, so I'm just hearing from one of the players now. They had 8 for the whole match.
That would have made a significant difference.
They don't want to pause. They have 8. They have no solution to that, so they're just playing on. So that could explain. Well, I don't think we want to take anything away from the Play Stuff team, but certainly having one man up on another team will give them a huge advantage.
Absolutely, and all of the tactics that you might have sort of delivered or figured out before a match kind of go out the window when you're a man down. You've got to really rethink things on the go, and again, death matching skills, your ability to sort of one up against every single other player gets called into question.
For sure. I must apologise to everyone. I'm feeling rather stupid for not having TF2 updated. I think we're going to just close off the stream for now. Move on to the next map. So. Let's see how Play Stuff can do going into, I believe, Badwater? Badwater next.